Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, for you guys, this is another Star Wars video. Today we're tackling Ahsoka episodes 5 and 6. This is going to be a spoiler review. If you have not seen Ahsoka episode 5 and 6, obviously go watch them if you haven't been spoiled already. It's kind of hard to watch Marvel, DC, especially Star Wars on the internet and not get ruined. So you know, I'm recording this when episode, I think 7 is coming out tonight, actually, the time we're recording this. So on the 26th. So yeah, I gotta be careful. You gotta be very, very cautious when you're on X or whatever the fudge they're calling it now. But yeah, it is really strange to talk about this because something happened in episode 5 that blew my freaking mind. So, but without further ado, if you know it, don't ruin it in the comments because you know the drill. Some people watch the comments and whatever. But anyway, make sure to like the video if you enjoyed this video or if you are going to enjoy it. Hopefully you will. Subscribe if you're new for all new awesome Star Wars stuff. I do Lego Star Wars 2 on my Xbox. We got unboxing videos, reactions, a bunch of whole fun stuff. So without further ado, again, this is your last chance. If you have not seen the Ahsoka show, at least episodes 1 through 6, I'd also recommend watching Star Wars Rebels. You kind of have to in order to understand what the fudge is even going on in this show. Anyway, let's get into the spoiler review. I know it's been about 2 weeks since episode 5, but this is a big one. So something that happened in this episode where I kind of alluded to that in the beginning. Something happens in this, and I was literally... This isn't hyperbole, alright? I'm not just effing saying this. I was kind of shaking a bit. I didn't pee, but I had that sensation where, like, it feels like you're peeing. I didn't actually pee. I checked, don't worry. But I was shaking. I literally shaking in my chair. I'm like, this is effing crazy. What's happening? My dad was watching. He was like, this is cool. But I was like, yeah! I was freaking out. So without, freaking out here, basically something happened that I wanted to see happen for a long time. And that is essentially have a Clone Wars style flashback or scene in live action. Now mind you, I gotta kind of disclaim this because the whole Twitter X world is kind of losing their coconuts right now. And that's to say that the Clone Wars animated show, or the Rebels animated show, or basically any animated Star Wars show, from the Clone Wars to Resistance, all of those animated shows, they all count. They're all canon. They all take place in the same, like the Ahsoka show and the Mandalorian show, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, that's all in the same canon, same universe as Resistance and Bad Batch and Clone Wars and Rebels. So don't discredit one while crediting another, because they're all just as important. And seeing, the Clone Wars in live action for this brief period didn't, I wasn't freaking out because I'm like, wow, Clone Wars in live action? Whoa, it matters now. I never thought like that. I was like, okay, this is cool. But if they never had that, I wouldn't freak out. Like the Clone Wars has 7 amazing animated seasons, one of the best TV shows of all time, not just Star Wars, of all time. It's freaking awesome. We need that for the sequel trilogy. But at the same time, I have Resistance, but 7 seasons, that'd be cool. So, seeing it in live action wasn't the part that made me freak out. It was just seeing Hayden Christensen with the girl from Barbie play Ahsoka. And then you have, Tamora Morrison or whatever as Captain Rex. It's awesome. And just seeing the Clone Wars fighting and seeing like an actual events in the Clone Wars show in live action is really cool. And all these idiots online saying, they make the Clone Wars, remake the Clone Wars live action. That's not how this should work, okay? Again, the animated content is in the same realm as the live action content. There's no need to refilm the whole thing in live action just to make that 1% happy. Yeah, it'd be effing cool, and I'm not against that, but at the same time, that's not the point of this scene. The point of the scene was to show Anakin back, right? This is not just some dumb fan service thing. Star Wars really never has any dumb fan service at all. Everything has its purpose, but this really, really felt unique because, again, we were able to see Hayden Christensen as Anakin, and I swear to God, this was the happiest part for me, because seeing Hayden Christensen as Anakin not only was cool, because, yeah, he was in Obi-Wan, or whatever, his voice was in The Rise of Skywalker, that's all cool stuff, but in this, seeing him with the Clone Wars hair and trying his best to do a pretty good Matt Latner voice, him just, running in that awesome badass wide shot, or that one take of him like deflecting blaster bolts, and Ahsoka's fighting, and the clone troopers are all shooting. It's awesome, but it was cool this was proof to me. This was like irrefutable proof that Hayden Christensen is not a shitty actor. The problem with the prequels is that he had shitty dialogue. If the dialogue wasn't trash, And I'm not saying all of the prequel dialogue. There's a lot of really good prequel dialogue. Of course, some of this is joking, of course. But to be serious, a lot of the prequel trilogy has some pretty dodgy writing, especially with Anakin, especially in Episode 2. I don't hate that movie. It's my least favorite, but I don't hate it. I do love a lot about it. But, you know, there are some ropey moments with the acting in that trilogy. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. I know prequels are amazing and all that, and whatever, but they're kind of weird in terms of that. So to see him actually have good dialogue, I'm sitting there and I'm watching this and I'm like, this is totally effing cool, but nothing he's saying is triggering my weird brain to be like, oh, that didn't make sense, or oh, I wish they reshot that, or oh, he said that line kind of weird, or oh, that was a weird line, like altogether. I had none of that. It was just good writing. And because the writing was so good, as it has been since basically Disney bought the franchise, you're seeing this effect where it was never Hayden's acting, maybe one or two scenes, but it was really George Lucas writing the script, telling him what to say, telling him how to say it. You know what I mean? When you're able to have a good writer and I'm sorry I'm saying this, but it's my opinion, a good director in the helm, it's really cool to see, you know, that Hayden as Anakin can have these really great lines and he can say them really, really well. And it feels good. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching this and I'm like, this is the Anakin I wanted to freaking see in the prequels. This is the kind of writing caliber and acting caliber I wanted to see in 2002 and 2005. Not to say the whole prequel trilogy is bad. In fact, it's my least favorite trilogy, but I still love it to death, right? I'm not saying prequel's bad. I'm not hating on it. I love the prequels a lot. They're really, really effing good. But there were some weird moments in there, especially with the acting and writing. So seeing that actually being, you know, pushed forth and having it actually be really good shows me that he can do this. He's a good Anakin. He always was. It's just stuff holding him. These little, like, little ray shield blockades happening in the prequels. You know, this is where he's actually able to shine. And he did in the Obi-Wan show, of course, and I can't really say he was good in The Rise of Skywalker because he had like 4 lines of dialogue, but I mean, they were well delivered, but he wasn't physically there. This is cool because it's not only fun fan service, it adds to, you know, bringing Hayden back is cool, but it's also cool in terms of what Ahsoka is going through, because she falls off that cliff and she kind of fights Anakin, and there's some really good symbolism, really good, you know, shots and all that in there. Really badass editing where, you know, the smoke and, you know, the like lightning flashes, like on Exegol kind of thing, and you see like a brief glimpse of Darth Vader's costume or whatever, and then of course Hayden fights. Lightsaber fight is effing awesome. It's really, really cool, as they pretty much have been the whole show so far. Really, really good action, but this episode 5 really kind of pushed the idea that she's going through this weird thing. I'm assuming this is still the world between worlds. They don't mention it, but I'm assuming that's what it is. Looks just like the one in Rebels, so it's really cool to see that. They're actually able to show that in a live action sense. And yeah, like I said, don't remake Clone Wars live action. We have a show on the Clone Wars, and it's the best show they made yet, okay? Yeah, it's animated, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. If you think it does, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. The animated stuff is just as important as the live action stuff. In fact, I would argue the Clone Wars animated show is 100 times more brutal and violent than anything we've gotten in live action ever. I have seen all 7 seasons, and that is definitely a violent show. But going forward with that, it's cool to see this nonetheless. I was very excited to see it. When people kind of have to understand why we're seeing it. It's not like, oh man, petition to remake it. Or, oh man, it's just, this is the reason. It helps with the story, because Ahsoka's living through these memories, and it's also just cool for us to see Hayden and, you know, actually back in that Clone Wars attire, which is really, really awesome. But basically, that's all really of Episode 5. You see Jason, and he's kind of there. He's kind of like sensing the light. He kind of like hears the lightsaber kyber, you know, clashing, and he hears the fight. Harrison Jula kind of has this little lesson in the Force from Jason. It's really, really good stuff. Honestly, that stuff is cool, but you know, we're effing here to see Ahsoka and Anakin. That's why we're here. That's why we were so excited. Like the other stuff with Hera, Jason, Hu Yang or whatever, that's good. It's good stuff. But the bulk of Episode 5 was about the Anakin and Ahsoka content, which was it was baller tier. Like it was sick. You know what I mean? It was a big old, what did they say? A big old fat W. You know what I mean? That's what it was. It was pretty sick. It was lit AF. Yeah, it was Wizard. Okay, there by W. It was Wizard. So I do think it was a really good episode. I'm gonna give that one easily a 10. Not because of the fan service and because we got Hayden. It was a very well made episode. That is, the fact that Hayden returned has nothing to do with it. It was just a really good episode. Episode 6 is where things really get serious, where we see Grand Admiral Thrawn for the first time, played by the same guy that voiced him in the Rebels show. Really cool. I swear to God, he had blue hair in the Rebels show. Maybe I'm mistaken. I remember him having blue hair, and in this one he has black hair. I don't know if he like dyed it or something, or they just like changed it. I don't really know. I don't really care, but it's just something I noticed. But he's great, of course. You know what I mean? He sounds just like, because I mean it's the same guy, so that's cool. But really, Ahsoka's not really too much in this episode. It's really about Sabine kind of going on this journey and trying to find Ezra. And it's also kind of introducing Thrawn and these Night Sisters from Dathomir. Kind of they're them talking to Morgan Elsbeth and all that fun stuff, which is really cool to see. Another great episode. It wasn't as like, oh my god, whoa, intense as 5. This one more was, based on the story and, evolving the story in ways that where it wasn't just, oh, here's Hayden again, I mean, like, it progressed the story, which was good. So while it's not as action-packed or exciting as 5 was, it doesn't mean it's inherently bad. In fact, I would say this one's even better in terms of storytelling, because we see what Thrawn's been doing. We see how he's able to survive. We see, there are a few moments in this episode where it's a bit slow, where Sabine finds this giant wolf thing, and she kind of rides it, and it's good CGI. Like, her interacting with this wolf creature, when she's petting it, she's riding it. Sounds weird. She's hot though, but it's really, really good CGI creature work. Like it's top tier stuff, So that's cool. She also meets like these I don't know what they're like, turtle rock people thing, whatever they are. That's where the episode drags a bit for me. It wasn't boring, but I did check my phone once or twice to see what time it was. Because I do like the world building. I like that she's kind of going on this journey. She doesn't just, effing find Ezra after like 5 minutes of searching. This is like a days-long thing. And she finds these turtle rock things, and yeah, it's a bit slow. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit effing slow. They're kind of walking, and they're all like, they're all talking to each other in whatever the hell language they're speaking. And it's like, okay, this is cool, because I like this, because we're seeing more creatures, right? We're adding more to the world, to the canon. I like it, but then, it drags on where like they just keep saying their garbage marble mouth BS. It's like, okay, let's go! There is thankfully a really good action scene in there where Sabine fights off these guys and she like points the blaster at the camera. That's badass, man. That was really, really well shot. Very well choreographed, very well made fight scene with Sabine. And then, of course, we see her finally meet Ezra. And, seeing Hayden and Ahsoka in live-action Clone Wars form was awesome. Seeing Ezra, even though he looks a bit like Jesus, even though Obi-Wan looked like Jesus in Attack of the Clones, this guy really looked like, this is, Obi-Wan, Jesus in Episode 2 is how Americans think Jesus looked. Ezra, no, I'm American, but Ezra is how I'm assuming, I wasn't there for Jesus' time, but I'm assuming that's how he looked. A little bit more brown, he kind of looks like Jesus, and I'm like, wow, it's Jesus, and I'm like, oh, no, wait, this is Star Wars, it's Ezra. But seeing Ezra and Sabine actually meet after all this time, because you guys, if you haven't been there from the beginning, you don't effing get it, man. You don't understand. Rebels ended with Season 4 with, spoiler for Rebels, but come on, watch the effing show. The show ends literally with, Thrawn and Ezra, who knows where in the galaxy, and, everyone, including me, was asking Dave Filoni and whoever, where's Ezra, where's Thrawn, what the hell's going on? And he was like, I don't know, we'll find out. And we finally found out. It took getting through the sequels. Now, mind you, I love the sequels. I'm just saying we had to watch all this other amazing content, right? Sequels, video games, comics, movies, TV shows, and then we finally get Ahsoka. And we finally get this answer. Where is Thrawn? Where is Ezra? They finally meet, and a piece of my heart just kind of melded back together, which is really cool. So that was cool. I felt it right here, and that was really, really awesome to see, because again, I've been wondering the same effing question since 2014 or something. It was like right before I think The Force Awakens came out when the show ended, kind of, and it was like, where are these characters? What's going on here? Like, why? I'm like, why would you end this show on such a dumb effing cliffhanger? Like, come on, man. And then they finally answered it, and they did it in such a good way. It really was awesome to see. Now, again, Episode 7 is coming out tonight at the time of recording this, so I'm assuming there's going to be more Ezra and Sabine action. Ahsoka really wasn't in this episode a whole lot. She's kind of in the beginning and a little bit in the end, kind of, but really this was about Thrawn's return and Sabine's journey to find Ezra, which I think was really well done. So I'm going to give Episode 6 probably a 9 out of 10. My only issue is that there's a few slow, boring parts. I don't want to say boring, because I don't think anything Star Wars is boring, but there are a few moments where it kind of does slow down a bit in order to get that world building, but a lot of it, is just like, and it's like, what? You know what I mean? Okay, cool, you're talking. Move, do something, for God's sake. She's just like on this effing wolf for what seems like an hour. And I get it, my attention span, trust me, it's not garbage. I've watched Logan, okay? Like, I like slow movies. Joker, Joker, right? I like slow movies. But at the same time, there's a difference between slow and borderline boring. And a lot of the Star Wars live-action shows, especially The Mandalorian, can kind of feature close to boring at times. It never did venture into that territory for this episode, but it was dangerously close. So again, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Really great stuff. We got 2 more left, episodes 7 and 8. Once the end of episode 8 is out, I will be recording my final video on Ahsoka, kind of recapping the last 2 and giving my overall thoughts on the series. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe if you're new. Again, hopefully you've seen these episodes. If you know, hopefully you didn't watch this and be like, wow, I can't believe you ruined it for me. You know what I mean? I warned you, okay? We got 2 more left. 2 more left, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the last 2 episodes of this pretty awesome show so far. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.